Guess who's the #1 odds-on favorite to win the MVP this year?
Who's that?
Josh Allen.
Whoa, Buffalo.
There's been a change in the book. Josh Allen plus 350. If you remember, over the last 3 games, he's completing like 77% of his passes. Yeah. I think he has 6 missed target throws and 8 touchdowns over the last. More touchdowns than missed target throws that happen through a game that data people have to zoom in on and be like, wide receiver couldn't have caught this one. That's a missed target throw. Other quarterbacks in the NFL have like 15, 20 of those. Mm-hmm. He has 6 of them over the last 3 games with 8 tuds over the last. Opening week, they were crop. They were trash, just like the opening week of preseason. They were crop. They were trash. This team got no hype this offseason. Why? Because Aaron Rodgers is in the division. New York Jets have the top 3 defense. The last time Aaron Rodgers had a top 10 defense, he won a Super Bowl. Let's assume that's going to take place in New York. And New York, massive market. Haven't been anything really since Joe Namath and Sanchez and the boys. This is the story. How about the Miami Dolphins? Oh, they're hanging 70 on people. They're a wagon. Tua, the jiu-jitsu. This is the story. So within their own division, they were the 3rd most talked about team just in their division, let alone the Patriots who have Bill Belichick. Last year, this team's won the Super Bowl. This is everything. Josh was at the top of the MVP. So they came in this year as underdogs. They came in this year as people that weren't being talked about to go on a run in the AFC because their time has already passed. They could have won on this run 2 years ago, coin toss. Last year, they could have done it, weren't able to do it. This year's not the year now that Aaron, Tua, and everything else going on in the AFC. And they stumble out of the gates. Ooh. Let's bury this team. Now, wait a minute. Yeah. Josh at plus 350. That is very low odds to win the MVP. Feels like the books think that Josh is going to maintain this. How does the AFC East feel about the Buffalo Bills being the wagon once again?
Yeah, before the season, it was obvious, like, hey, you got to go through Buffalo because Buffalo is, they've won the division the last 3 years. You have to respect that. And then when the season starts and Miami does what they do, it was hard for people, I think, in the AFC East at least to say, yeah, this Miami team feels like Buffalo strictly because this Miami team is so much more explosive and different that you almost fear the Dolphins more than the Bills just when you're watching them and you're thinking about how the game's going to play out. But now, we're 3 weeks later or 4 weeks later, however the hell long we've been talking about this, the Bills are unbelievable. I mean, it's arguable they're the best team in the AFC, not just the AFC East. Like, I think it's kind of easy to say that versus the Miami Dolphins and even the Chiefs, just because what they're doing is so ridiculous. Like, it's impossible to stop them. And then if you think about Buffalo in Buffalo, and they get to have home field advantage, and granted it didn't help them last year, but this team feels completely...
They're running the ball now, too.
Yeah, they feel complete. Like, it's a real...
Yeah, Cook is the real deal.
Yeah, James Cook.
Is the real deal. Out of the backfield, not only catching the ball, but also running the ball. Mm-hmm. And their defense, they were without Jordan Poyer this past weekend, and they still got like 2-3 picks or whatever.
Still don't have Vaughn.
Yeah, Von Miller is going to be coming back in the next couple weeks. That team was not talked about going into the season, except for negative stuff.
Yeah.
Remember Stephon Diggs at Fashion Week, not happy with the team. Yep. Goes back, leaves the building. He's here, he's not here. McDermott says, yeah, I'm worried about Stephon Diggs and everything that's taking place. He's back. He's voted captain again. All signs are pointing towards the Bills making another run at it. And before the season started, we had never even brought that up. And Stephon Diggs, stone cold and some beers.
Right.
I like to see the moxie out of the boys over there. Kincaid, though, needs to get going.
Yeah,
they need to get Kincaid going because that, you draft a guy like that because you think he's potentially a missing piece that we will need. Hopefully throughout the year they're able to do that.
He'll get in. He'll get his opportunities, but at this point with how they're rolling, he just kind of got to get in where he fits in, kind of like Gibbs in Detroit right now. But like Tone said, them having the ability to run the ball, because coming into every game for the last couple of years, Josh Allen was their biggest running threat, but now he's under center, doing more play action things. You talked about Davis being healthy. Diggs obviously been a dog, and Josh Allen taking care of the ball. But the reason they're the scariest team in the AFC right now, even over the Chiefs, will be how sound they are on both sides of the ball. Leslie Frazier left, Sean McDermott takes back over the play calling, and they haven't missed a beat. And they almost look almost scarier because they're not as, safe. They're attacking. They're running blitzes. They're doing different things on the back end. Milano's unbelievable. Bernard is unbelievable. And then you can imagine how it's going to look once Von Miller gets back out there. But they're a nasty team right now.
Yeah, I have a Hembo stat here that without Von Miller, they have some sort of rush stat that is just absolutely absurd. I'll have to find it.
Ed Oliver's having a great year.
No,
I think they have more pressures and sacks than anybody else in the NFL, and there's not even Von Miller there. I think is the stat that I read from Hembo. Now, Khalil Mack puts up 6 sacks in one game, so who knows how stats kind of bounce around. If you looked at those MVP odds, though, Patrick Mahomes at plus 500. Not a bad little sprinkle.
No.
Not a bad little sprinkle just because it's Patrick Mahomes, but also with the stats coming out, with how many people are watching these Chiefs games, it's like playoff game every single time they're on TV. And it's because Patrick Mahomes is incredible.
Well.
And it's because Andy Reid is the Kool-Aid man.
That's right.
And it's because Chiefs Kingdom has obviously grown over the last few years because they're in the middle of their dynastic run.
Sure.
T Swift in the stands. With this demo that the NFL has never been able to reach, it makes a lot of people go, feels like a work. 27 million viewers. Most watched show since the Super Bowl was Sunday Night Football.
Damn.
And then remember last week, whenever T Swift popped in out of nowhere to 4 o'clock, most watched game. I think that's going to continue. So if we're just doing like MVP voting and stuff like that, Patrick Mahomes is probably going to have a whole new demo voting and spinning narrative, and that's the age 12 to 17 teenage girls, up 53% off of last season, and then women's age 18 to 24 up 24%, 35 plus 34%. I mean, it's all categories whenever it comes to female watching of the NFL up, and that's only in a voting game. That is only going to help because they're going to watch Patrick Mahomes not do what he did against the Jets.
No.
Those 2 passes that got picked.
What do we do?
That is not Patrick Mahomes.
No.
And I hope there was a message sent amongst the Swifties like, hey, what you just saw this guy do, anomaly. Him missing those 2 balls never, ever happens. All that running you see him doing and electrifying, normally that's completed for a 70-yard touchdown on the other side. They'll see that next week, I assume. Plus 500 Patrick Mahomes. Not a bad little sprinkle there. Also, Purdy down there at plus 1,600. I think that guy has like less incompletions than he does poops in a day. I think he has been like sound and perfect. And we know the MVP is a quarterback trophy. Like Christian McCaffrey should be in there.
I was surprised he's not on here, actually.
But that's just, he'll be offensive player of the year.
Should be called best quarterback because that team goes through him.
Yeah, it should be MVQ. There should be the most valuable quarterback is how the MVP has been and will been. It's a quarterback-driven league. Danny Dimes getting paid $47 million. Okay, that's just the only stat that you need to see there. But there's some good odds right here. And plus 350 is small. Those are very small odds.
Very short.
4 weeks into a game, Tone. Or 4 weeks into the season.
Like, there's no way that they get shorter. And by that, I mean, I don't think it's going to go from plus 350 to plus 300 or plus 250. And it's a long season. We got a lot of time left. I wouldn't bet Josh Allen now because I think at some point you're going to eventually get better odds, whether he has a bad game or something like that, or Mahomes or Tua has another 500-yard game or something like that.
Well, and Jalen's never lost, seemingly.
And Jalen just had his best game by far. Like, the throws that he made to A.J. Brown on Sunday were absurd. Like, I think he's kind of starting to feel it again.